Back talking.
What happened here?
I don't know. That went in a weird
Back talk.
Okay, folks.
segment.
Welcome.
I don't know what that was.
You didn't even start.
Back talk.
All right.
Come on, man.
This is our first back talk on the porch, baby.
Yeah. Back talk.
So it's like back talk in the backyard on the back
talk.
porch.
Ooh, okay, we'll call it that. Okay. So,
Back
we
porch
won't.
talk.
all right, so what we're doing here, the way we've been doing our back talks nowadays is we're going to discuss a topic and then you guys can discuss along with us or possibly...
You're here to disagree, okay?
Yeah, but we're talking about Essen. This is not a very controversial topic.
I will make it so.
Oh, you're going to do that? Good. I'll sit
I got
back
this
and
one.
watch.
I got this one.
Okay, good.
All right.
Go ahead.
So, anywho, Essen.
I disagree.
Essen is a large board game convention. Everyone's saying the sound is quite low.
The sound is
All right, well, we'll fix that, folks. But meanwhile, Essen is a large fair in Germany. Well, actually, it's called the Spiel. It's the Spiel Fair, game fair, and it just happens to be in Essen.
Right.
So it's the Spiel at Essen, and we just call it Essen for short.
Correct. Essen is a place, not a fair.
Not the name of a game or a translation into French or anything.
Correct.
Okay. But anyhow, so...
We good? Don't make me do it again.
All right, so anyhow.
All right, so what are we talking about here?
So, first of all, the size of Essen definitely increased this year. Do you agree? I'm gonna hide the comments from you.
I would definitely. Well, I'm just. It's
Hide them.
We're about 13 seconds behind.
Bigger than last year. I'll tell you what.
Yes, I think so.
Last year felt crowded. Certainly felt crowded. But last year, I personally felt more crowded. I think that was maybe because of simply the room they were using for the convention.
We were by the bathrooms last year.
We were by the bathrooms, and the bathrooms seemed like they were always crowded. Also, this year I did not encounter that to be a problem. I also avoided going to the bathroom because last year was so problematic.
At the end of the day, Z was
Yeah,
like,
so
I gotta go home. Gotta go home now.
So it's just, it did not feel as crowded to me personally, but I understand that it probably was.
I think from the very beginning, from Thursday on, it felt more crowded. I think there was a larger throng on Thursday this year than there was last year, and I think that continued to build. So I think each and every day was more crowded than the rest. I do know that I was less overwhelmed this year, but I think that was only due to the fact that I had gone the previous and I knew what to expect. I don't attribute my feeling of being overwhelmed last year to the number of people being greater than this year. I think it's just because it was new.
Okay.
So I feel like, and a lot of people that I talked to there, they also felt like there was a lot more people on different days than normal.
I'm leaving this conversation.
All right, buddy. We'll see you later.
We got this.
No,
Don't worry.
but
Bye. Get out.
you love those comments. But even though it was louder, oh, sorry, I'm thinking about the sound. It was more crowded. I felt Sunday wasn't too bad.
Sunday was fine, and again, I feel like they opened up enough room.
Sorry, Derek.
We are good. We are good in sound now, somebody says. Sound is better, Family Showdown says. There we go, Family Showdown says. Better, Thomas Enderle says.
Sorry, I just killed Derek by accident.
Cool.
Okay. So, anywho.
That's the second time you said it.
Anyhow.
So it's more crowded, but it was also way bigger. Okay, for
Which
sure.
is why I think it did not feel that much more crowded.
Right. Hall 7 was a lot bigger than it was in previous years.
Right.
Last year, Hall 7 was there, but there were parts of it that were like empty. Not so this year. And then they added Hall 8, which was no small slouch of a hall. It was a fairly long hall.
Yeah, I had some good stuff in there. I mean, it was not tiny, yeah.
I think there were more people there.
There was definitely more
I'm
publishers.
sure there were more people, but they made up for it with this new space they offered up.
Yeah, the question was, is it bigger than this year than last year?
Did it feel more crowded, is I think what you were asking, right?
Last year I thought it was super crowded. So this year, for sure, the thing about Essen is it crowds from the front back. So in Hall 3, especially on Saturday, I had to go through Hall 3 and Hall 1, and both those halls were just not fun to walk through at all.
No, I mean, that's the thing. We were walking through, what was it, on Saturday, I think?
I think so.
And I was like, we ain't going to Hall 1, 2, and 3, are we? You're like, uh-huh.
I needed to get in there, yeah.
So I mean, you only went in there unless you needed to. You didn't go in there unless you needed to.
Unfortunately,
there's so many people in there.
Yeah.
But Hall 6, 7, and 8 were not so bad most of the time.
Yes.
No,
They were crowded, but I mean, I could walk through those halls at a reasonable pace. When I would be coming, I was running from meeting to meeting. I come from Hall 3, and I'm like, oh, slow. I get to the big walkway,
gallery, the
and
gallery.
then once I got into Hall 7, I'm like, yes, now I can do it. I can get there. And now, a lot of games came out this year, and I'm really excited about so many of them.
We're going to go through them all, and we'll give you a thumbs up, thumbs down, right? Okay.
No, but every time we went back to the booth and we looked at all the different games,
We'll just default to this.
there's a lot of times where there's a pile of games we're like, eh. But we actually had to pick and choose which games we were going to send home faster.
Right. Bring along. It seemed, I told you guys this earlier, it felt to me, this just obviously could be a perception thing, that the average game there was better than it's been before. There's always the mega hits, there's always the things that stand out, right? But it seemed like across the board, there are fewer and fewer publishers that make it to Essen anyway, that just bring along Drek, that is garbage.
The low bar was set higher this year.
But definitely that's also a Hall thing. So this year I learned Hall 3 was the biggest publishers. Hall 1 was, Asmodee.
Half of it at least, yeah.
But then Hall 1 and 2 were made up of the medium publishers.
Right.
And there was a few small ones scattered in there, but mostly medium publishers. 7 is the smaller publishers, but they were still like publishers you probably heard of. A lot of the groups were in there from Japan and Korea and things. Hall 8 was the new publishers.
Yes.
And wannabe publishers. And then Hall 6 was everything else, from art to comics to... There was publishers in Hall 6, but not nearly as many.
Yeah.
I went through there and I saw lots of used game stores in there.
Right,
I saw
they
lots
have
of
a lot of
comics.
There's a burger stand in there too.
Was there a burger stand in there? And BGG was like the middle. Any time when someone would be like, we're around the corner from BGG, and I thought, okay, but their booth was pretty big right in the middle.
Yeah.
And that's because they were collecting games. They ran into a problem this year where they have games for Board Game Geek Con. Normally they have a month to get them home.
Yeah.
Now they have like 2 weeks. So Jeff from BGG Con was here, loading the games up, driving them himself just to make sure that they got to where they were supposed to go.
Insane. Yeah.
But that's what was going on. I mean, it was just a lot of stuff.
Gotta do, yeah.
But overall, I didn't feel like it was completely different than last year, other than there was more games and stuff. Our booth was in a different location, but I felt pretty good. We had a lot less hiccups this year.
Yes, it felt like a better year, just again from a personal point of view, than last year. That encompasses getting around, quality of the games, what was happening at the fair itself, all of those things. Part of that is on us, planning and so on, but part of it is just in the the way the convention is run, the fair is run. I thought it was very smooth, so it felt like a great year.
There's not a lot of events that we do at these or go to. We did a live show, which was a lot of fun, and if you came to that, thank you.
Definitely.
Great audience. We had a good time. We went to the Dyson Mystics event where we played games.
Very good time.
I really enjoyed that. It was just like a calming moment.
Yeah.
If there's one thing about Essen, it's slightly stressful for me because I feel like more than any other con, I have to be on the whole con. Because there's a lot of people, that's the only con they see us at, so they talk to us. And even going from one spot to another, lots of people stop and talk to you, which again, we encourage.
Yeah, that's fine.
But it does tire you out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And so we went to this small meetup, 120 people there, I think they said.
It felt very intimate, and probably because we had just spent a couple of days among thousands and thousands of people. So it felt like a very small gathering. 120 is actually higher than I would have guessed.
And you know, I almost wish someone else would run one of these another night, because each night we would go home and go to or we would be done with the thing. We'd go to a big meal at some restaurant, and by the last night we were done with that. I think, right? So we could have skipped I could have done a meal one night and then the meetup and the meetup. I would have enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's cool.
So if someone else is running the meetup,
idea.
let us know.
Very good idea.
Because the meetup also took away the food problem. At this meetup, they came and they just said, "What do you want?" We ordered it, and then instead of sitting around waiting forever for the food to get there, we were playing games.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's cool. Very good event.
Let's see. What's SNS?
Sword and Sorcery.
That's
Oh, wow.
really.
Some people-
Wow, yeah,
some
you
people-
really got to not abbreviate. Again, you go ahead and give the rant, because I'm
Well, no, I
not
was
feeling
going
it.
to give the rant about.
I knew
know
exactly what they were talking about.
I know that some people really like a specific game, but sometimes people email me and they're like, "You should play this game again because I really think you'd like it." That doesn't change my mind at all. You tell me you like it because I'm convinced every game someone likes, except Crocodile Pool Party. Although, didn't Eric say it was okay at the thing? He had to be lying.
I don't know. My rant was slightly different.
You were like, "Don't use abbreviations." I get it.
Stop. Look, we don't all know what you mean when you say SNS. When I say, "Oh, hey, have you guys ever tried CPP?" What is that? It's Crocodile Pool Party, by the way. But again, you know, like the one that always, like, there's a few games that are so popular and everybody just throws these abbreviations out. Man, I just don't.
T2A, Through the Ages.
Yeah, I've seen that one a lot. TTR, right, for Ticket to Ride.
Yeah.
No, usually people use T2R, right?
No, I've seen T, capital T,
Small T.
lowercase t.
Capital R.
Welcome to BackTalk. Why I hate abbreviations with ZG.
I'll do my own Q&A about why I hate that.
ZG is right.
Anyway, someone asked, I saw the giant pallet. We're going to answer questions, but we want to answer specifically. We're going to be pointing towards things about Essen.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll answer from general later on. Someone said, "I saw the giant pallet of games you were shipping home," which I counted up. It looks like 230 games, and that doesn't count the 60 or 70 other ones we managed to bring with us somehow. Yeah, I know it's going to be.
That's more than a handful.
Anyway, does that get
And
crazy
if it is a
expensive?
handful,
And the
have
answer to
large
that is yes. Now, fortunately, we're getting each year we learn a little bit more about shipping. So the first
It's a tricky
year,
world.
So we bring home games in suitcases, and this is where we are unfair, because we pick games we think are going to be a lot of fun,
Right.
or they're hot and we think people want to hear about them, and
Or
you might
they're
go, "Well,
small.
my game should have been in that thing." Well, we just picked the ones we think.
Yeah.
So we fill our suitcases, and we have 50 pounds that we're allowed to bring on the plane, and our suitcases always weigh 50.5 pounds, because that's usually what they'll wiggle us.
Yeah. A little bit of wiggle room there.
But right, all three of our suitcases. Actually, yours was the.
They're right on the. They're pretty much right on the money. All
Yeah.
three of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, and then I was carrying a game that was too heavy, and then my carry-on ended up being 30 pounds, and I checked that anyway. But your carry-on, I don't know how much your carry-on weighed.
I don't know, but you said it was about as heavy as your back. It was certainly felt heavy. And I had that filled with games to the point that it did not zip back up. You said,
Yeah.
"Is the zipper broken?" I'm like, "No, I just can't close it." And then I had games in my personal item. I had a few little games in
I
there.
had games in my personal item as well. I think I had 5 games. That are smaller box games.
Right. So we try to get back as much as we can now, because yeah, the games on that pallet they take a while.
Anyhow, Cool Stuff was able to help us get some more games back, 4 more boxes of them quickly. So we will see those soon enough. We'll talk about those. All right. Anyhow, then the rest go on that pallet, and that pallet's going to take 5 or 6 weeks.
Okay.
But the fact is we knew by the time that pallet gets here, we're still not going to even be done with the ones we brought back.
Of course. Right.
Not all these games we bring back are going to get reviewed. How do we know this? Because we still have games from last Essen.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
the
not
way
possible.
it is, right? There's even between all 3 of us playing games, we probably played 10 games that came out at Essen already, and yeah, that's like
I mean, here's the
1 out of every 30.
The thing is, I mean, we have so many to come out at Essen, but that's not the only time games come out, right?
Correct, right.
So I mean, we have these already queued up, and then January hits and a bunch of new games come out. So now we have to pick from those as well, and it kind of snowballs.
And if something comes out in March that is very exciting to us, we want to talk about it in March. If it's so it gets us juiced up again, and we'll play it. That's ultimately. It's not even that we're picking to review something earlier. Is that this game gets played first. It needs to get played a few times before we review it. So if it gets played, it gets reviewed. That's the order. It's not that it gets played because we're going to review it. It gets reviewed because we played it. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how that works out.
Someone asked if we saw the Justice League board game. We did, which actually was it was a very small part of the stand of ABBA games.
It was.
There was not a big buzz about it at all.
I mean, they had a bunch of different games?
ABBA has a lot of games.
Okay.
And on Sunday when I went by, they still had, it wasn't like the game sold out.
Right.
I saw someone had it. The rule books were very long, so it's going to be a bit before you see this one. I think, Did you bring it back?
No.
I think it's in the ones that are coming
it's on the
in a few days. No, it's not on the pallet. There's
sure?
one of your copies on the pallet.
Uh-huh.
I sent one of the copies back early.
Okay.
But we'll have to wait and see on that one. So you might say, or did you play this yet? Did you play this yet? Just assume no.
Right.
Some of the games we played are not even big ticket games. Were quicker ones. We could get in faster.
Right.
The big ticket ones, Altiplano, Newsfjord, and all that, we're going to get to those. But really, there's 30 of these big ticket games. So it's going to take a while to get to all of them. Let's see. Everyone always asks what's the game that surprised us. No.
We don't know.
We'll know when we review them.
What?
People are trolling you now. Do you think CSR replaces SPDR in the CG category? I'm sure this gets annoying, but any news from Essen about Project Delete? Yes. All right.
Oh man, I went on that rant, and now every comment is.
Yeah. Is TM going to overtake TM's rank? Okay, stop trolling Z. Was there any first-time publishers or designers at Essen to keep an eye on for future games? I'll tell you what, not first time, but the guy, I forget his name now, who designed Photosynthesis / Dragon Castle, that's 2 hits in a row. So if he designs a game now, it's going on one of my lists, for sure.
Who is there that I'm keeping my eye on like that?
I'm also I haven't played any of the games. I don't know if any of them are good, but there was an Indonesian publisher conglomerate there, and their games look pretty decent.
One company I'm keeping my eye on, I don't know about designers, nothing's coming to mind, but one company I'm keeping my eye on is a company called Thunderglyph. They had a really tiny booth last year. They had a slightly bigger booth this year. Their games always look really good. They got the look down. They reprinted some stuff last year. They had a new one this year, a trick-taking card game that looks fantastic.
Well, that wasn't their big game this year. Was Dead Man's Doubloons.
Yeah, which I don't know anything about.
Well, that's one we played. Well, you can wait for a review.
Yeah, but so far, from what I don't know anything about that one. From the game last year and the little trick-taking game this year, I'm keeping my eye on them.
But one thing's for sure, their production is on the off the charts. It's really good. This guy says we should just bring one change of clothes.
That would be
leave when you go home.
Nasty.
Ew.
No, some people do take clothes to Essen, and then they leave them all there. They buy old clothes and wear them the whole time.
Yeah, but we are meeting people and such. I don't want to be walking around like some,
Hello. He's wearing a garbage bag.
Raggedy, I mean, that's.
Well, I'm trying to save space.
All right.
No. It's okay. I'll take clothing.
Oh, that's an interesting. What companies have you seen or know that started in the indie hall and are now in the bigger halls?
Gosh, I don't know. There's probably lots.
Yeah, right. I mean, I remember when Renegade was small. They're only a few years old, but they've definitely transitioned from some small company to one of the bigger companies.
Right. I was talking to Ignacy Chevicek from Portal Games, and his booth last year was great. This year was better. And he was telling me about how when they started, they had a table that they demoed on made of games stacked up. Like they
Wow.
stacked up games, threw a cover on that, and played on that.
Wow.
To this. This booth was fantastic.
His booth was
He's got the
very
meetings
impressive.
area in the back. He's got a great, he's got a nice playing area, good signage, on point. So, yeah, it goes to show you that hard work that some people put into it, you can see it. You can see it from year to year,
One thing that Essen does better than Gen Con by a mile is the booths.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't even close.
Nope.
The booths, not only did the publishers put a lot of effort into their booths to make them look great, but Essen is like easy to work with. Everyone has offices and places to store their games. The whole thing just looks great.
Yeah.
So I'm meeting people there in the middle of this convention. Most of the booths have ample space to play the games at. There's demo tables everywhere. At Gen Con, it's just display, go find somewhere else to play your game.
True.
Well, and just the verticality of some of the booths and the displays is beautiful there.
Best
at
food
Essen.
you tasted at Essen? For me this year, we went to some Greek restaurant that was 2 subway stops away, and that was easily the best food we had.
Really?
Yeah, for me, I really enjoyed that.
Best food? I'm thinking that Korean place is better.
I like the Korean place, but I really like that
The
Greek
Korean,
place.
the Mongolian was definitely good this year, better than I remembered it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
see,
I don't
last
try
year,
the weird stuff, but I really enjoyed it this
Yeah.
year. It was fantastic food.
Well, last year I went and tried all the weird stuff. This year I kind of focused on just
Well, you
being
knew what you
normal.
wanted, yeah.
Do you feel the international element of the international fair is becoming bigger? Of the fair.
Sure, of course, yeah.
I feel that recently more games come out in English, where in the past was often in German. Actually, at this point,
Oh.
you would be hard-pressed to find games that are not in English. And there's more games that come out in English, I think, before they come out in German there.
Yeah, a lot of the games that were coming out at Essen this year were like German or another European language reprint of an English game. So
Well, even
A
with,
lot of them.
even
It's
with people
not-
playing
not-
games, the fact is that at the fair itself, English is like the common language. So I'll see a bunch of people, none of them are Americans or from Britain, like some people from the Netherlands, from Germans and whatever, and they're speaking in English because it's the one common language they all know.
right.
But I mean, as far as the internationality of the whole thing, I see there companies from Brazil, I see companies from Spain, I see games from all over the world that you would now be hard pressed to differentiate from an established publisher from Germany, let's say, because it's a fairly level playing field at this point, and everybody's stepping up to the bat, and that's great to see. That's sort of what I thought they were asking. Every time I run into someone there that is, that comes up, says hello, they have a game, and then I find out where they're from. I'm like, wow, this is fantastic production from this country, and that's great. And oftentimes they did produce in country. I'm happy to see that's becoming available.
And someone said, about speaking English, and again, I want to be clear, we don't think everyone should speak English, right? We are in someone else's country in Germany. I'm thankful that it happens. Mm-hmm. And it's very few places, like every place we went to, even the people who worked there knew enough English to be able to serve us, do things.
Which
it was
is
really,
good. It's
really fantastic.
It's very nice.
You won't have any problems going there. But even the games, I like you said, I just love the international flavor of the whole thing. Many stands would tell you if they had someone who could demonstrate it in English or German, they would say those are the two languages that they would mention. But you could find someone who spoke, any language, there's probably someone there who can speak it somewhere.
Pretty close, yeah.
Let's see here. Wow. Will we be posting our live show from Essen? Yes, but don't expect great sound quality from it, just because that's how this show works. Also, Derek wasn't there. But even if he had been there, it's just really hard. It was a lot of... people are just going to have to accept our live shows are just going to be best to be watched live. That's just the way it is. There's not a lot of live shows in here in any way that don't... Especially most of the live shows, when they post their stuff, anyone does live show, they are planning to post that. They are working with this. Each time we're going to different venues, we have to work with these venues, the microphones they give us. We just have to suck it up. And I'm just glad that we can do it at all. And my first priority is always going to be the people in the room. Blah, 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 blah. You did your anticipated list. Now that you're home, what are you most looking forward to trying out the most? Was it on your list? Actually, my anticipated list like flopped all over the place when we were there because I saw games that looked interesting. Games I thought that I was kind of excited about. Looked at them like, we'll see.
Yeah. Boy.
I saw a few games that I hadn't even known about before going over there. People came up to the booth and said, "Hey, why don't you stop by?" Or as I was walking through the different halls, I saw something that caught my eye, and then I made a point to return. It's more things like that.
I know I myself definitely
really
still want to
change things up.
I know I myself definitely still want to try out Santa Maria. I know you got a chance to play at the booth.
Yeah, but I haven't played it yet. We'll
Eric
play it.
did as well. That was on the list. It's still on the hey, I want to check this out list. I don't know about the rest of it. Yeah.
You'll just have to wait till basically we start reviewing the games. We'll find out. And when we do those anticipated lists, we're going off of just gut instinct.
There's little info out there. Yeah.
What is your biggest disappointment of the trip? I can answer that one. For me, it was just missing a lot of people. There's a lot of people. I wanted to talk to Vincent Dutrade and Piero. I never saw them once.
Well, Piero was not there.
Well, that's why I missed him. But there were definitely other people. I missed Stefan from Matago. There's a lot of different people who I know were there. And someone would say, "Oh, they came by the booth." And I'd be like, "Oh, okay, I'll go by their booth." And then I went by their booth. They weren't there. It's so hard. You can't see everybody at these conventions. And there was a lot of people. There was even people that I talked to briefly and, intending to talk to them again. And it didn't happen.
Right.
Or I would say to someone, "I will definitely come by your booth," and then I would go by their booth, and then I would get this somewhere else, or I didn't go by their booth. I wish I had more time to talk to everyone, but the thing is so big. That's my biggest disappointment.
Madhouse. It's just a madhouse. I think for me, my biggest disappointment was being basically sick one day. Just got ill from food I ate that did not agree with me, and I was just kind of down for a few hours there. Did not feel well at all. Did not eat for about a 24-hour period, and just did. Yeah. That wasn't good. That was it. Thankfully, that was before, right? That was Tuesday, wasn't it? Or was that Wednesday?
It was Wednesday. I think.
Wednesday, right? So by Thursday, I felt a lot better, and I was sort of in the afternoon. Was brave enough to eat again Thursday afternoon,
and never stopped.
And then I never stopped. Yeah. That was out of my control, obviously, but yeah. Other than that.
This next question says, "What do you think of the Richard Garfield flop?" I'd like to discuss this, actually. Carnival of Monsters is what they're talking about.
I don't know anything about it. Okay.
This was a game that, if it's published, it will be a Dice Tower Essential. So what happened is Amigo never has done Kickstarter before. They put the Kickstarter up for a very high price, and expecting people to be like extremely excited about these artists that cost a lot of money to get the art.
Right.
Well, they're not. Amigo knows this now, so that Kickstarter will be relaunched. I think the game is really good. I like it a lot, which is why I want to make it Dice Tower Essential. So you'll see it happen again. This has happened before with Kickstarters, and again, Amigo's new to the Kickstarting thing, and they're learning. So I don't think it's a flop. I think you'll see it eventually, and I think a lot of you will enjoy it. South American designers, we definitely met people from. I met people from Colombia,
Chile,
and Bolivia, and Chile, and Argentina. I don't know how many of them were designers, but some of them were.
Spain, I always run into at least one Spanish designer there, different ones.
That's not South America.
Oh, South America, I'm sorry. I missed that part.
Okay, that's good. Any surprise announcements or big news that excited you guys? I was very excited about the new game from Amigo. His name is slipping my mind. That is a legacy game from the brands.
From Marcus and Inca brand.
Something about the Queen or Majesty the Queen or something like that. But that to me is exciting.
That you told me about that, and that sounds great. And those designers are so good. I can't wait to see what they do.
Was there any announcements at the Portal thing?
I did not make it to that thing because I was on the booth and I only saw myself at the booth, so I stayed at it.
Oh.
I told Sam about that, I think. Someone was at the booth with me, and when I finally noticed it was like 10 minutes to go or something,
yeah.
I was like, oh, wait, I'm on this schedule twice.
Yeah.
I read the schedule, looked down the booth list.
Yeah.
I was at the booth, so I stayed at the booth.
Yeah.
And then much later, about 45 minutes later, realized I was supposed to go to a portal thing.
I feel like I'm
However,
getting blamed here.
I did go by and speak to Ignacy anyway, partly because I missed it.
Personal interview.
And he told me that the announcement was that one of the main things they talked about was upcoming goodies for an expansion for alien artifacts already. That obviously they were working.
Wow.
I'm so surprised.
Early next year already, you know, and obviously they were working it into the design from before, you know. So this is not an afterthought expansion, as many of them are. This is going to make the game bigger and better, and they designed it knowing that. So, for example, one of the things that they'll tackle is that we talked about this in the review, or the alien artifacts cards felt really pricey, like very expensive for what you got.
Yeah.
That's something they're directly tackling in the expansion. So,
But so this is one of the things I kind of have a pet peeve about. If you were putting that kind of thought into the game before you produced the game, and you knew it was going to make the game better, why is it not then part of the base game?
Money.
yeah.
Nah, but that's okay. I'm tired of that crap.
No. I mean, they're making the base game cheaper.
But how much cheaper?
Well, I don't know, but every
don't know how
bit
many
counts.
cards- I don't know how many.
$2 or $3 cheaper.
I don't know about that.
I would imagine.
I don't know.
It's nothing. I imagine if they included this expansion, it would not be that much more expensive.
But it would keep that many more people from buying it. That then might probably would.
$5-10? Nah.
I think it's okay to split these things because they know they're not going to sell the expansion to as many people, and that's okay. The game's not broken. It's
But if
fine.
it's
And a
made-
lot of people are going to play the base game and never
better,
want anything else, huh?
If it's made better though, and they know it makes the
Well,
game
technically, every expansion is supposed to make the game better. So you're saying anyone who designs an expansion while they're designing the base game is cheating their audience?
better. Yes.
No, I disagree with that.
Okay. Well, anyway, that's not the point of this. Would you suggest going to Essen if you can't afford to go crazy and buy a lot of games? Is it still exciting and worth it if you can't afford to take part in the shopping part?
I don't think so. I mean, again, I don't know. Always those like, is it worth it questions I can't answer, but it depends where you're going, where you're coming from also. You know, if you can drive to Essen and you live somewhere in Europe, getting into Essen is extremely cheap.
Yeah.
It's like 30 euros or something, right? I mean,
If you live there.
right. If you are flying, say, from here, the United States, to go to Germany to visit Essen for all 4 nights, at that point, you are going to have to be someone who's going to have the money for the games anyway, because you were looking at several thousands of dollars to go, and then you're thinking, oh, I don't have the money to buy the games? Something's wrong in that equation. Yeah, it's not worth it.
What do you think?
Okay, if you're stressed out about that.
If not being able to spend a lot of money on games is one of the things you're worried about, I would say no, don't do it.
Just buy games at home, and you could literally, with the money you would have spent going to Essen, buy hundreds of games.
Yeah, if you have a problem with buying games, you need to steer really far from Essen because there's so many people there selling used games for really cheap prices, and the whole fair is about buy. It's really a consumer-oriented convention.
There's like literally no open gaming. The only gaming that's going on is people at booths demoing a game so that they can then make a better decision on buying the game or not.
Do you want to buy it or not? That's the whole point of them playing it.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
I mean, there's things, if you have kids,
That
and
is
you can
true.
go there,
That
it
is
looks
true.
like kids can have a lot of fun with little events and things.
Yeah.
Hall 3
Yeah.
was like chock full. Was it Hall 3 or was it Hall 1? I think it was Hall 3. Chocked full of just like little kids game areas. But they were board games. But they were populated by these different like little jungle gym set where the little kids would be playing on that while the other maybe a little bit older kids were playing a board game with their parents or something like that. It was just a lot of that stuff. That's cool.
And you have the Galleria also with the bouncing, you know, with the trampolines, and there was a clown show out there at one point.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot of entertainment for kids there.
Says, did it surprise you to meet up with other reviewers and see how your tastes differ?
No.
No.
I mean, we met the reviewers. We already know how our tastes differ.
I don't know how that. I don't even know what that means.
But you know what? I'll tell you what I do like. I like meeting and talking to them because we do the same thing, so it's great. I spent some time with Efka and John Gets Games, and just really a lot of fun. I like talking, even if I highly, like me and Rado, highly disagree on games. He's almost always wrong. You know, no, that's a joke.
He's kidding,
folks. Kind of. But I like to talk to him and hang out with him. It's fun to talk to other reviewers. Did we see anything that impressed us besides board games? The screens at the Asmodee booth.
Oh yeah.
Oh
wow, yeah.
The Twitch.
Oh, did you peek into the behind the Twitch thing, like where they have all their audio stuff set up?
Nope.
It would have made you sad. Like a big.
Why I didn't do it? I knew it would make me sad. That big old screen was making me sad.
Sam was impressed by that burger place in the middle of the.
Actually, I wasn't.
No.
They had cucumbers and pickles on the burger.
Of course.
Cucumbers and pickles.
Yeah.
Pickles are cucumbers.
Well, it's like having bread on top and bread on the bottom.
Which most burgers do.
Yeah.
But most burgers don't have cucumbers and pickles.
They're missing out.
All right. So a lot of people here are talking about games. As if it's all specific game, again, you're going to find. Did you get lost in the halls ever?
No.
I got lost looking for a booth. I mean, you know, finding a specific booth. If I go into Hall 3 and I'm looking for this booth, I get turned around all the time. Because I'll go to the end cap and it says, you know, 3, age 122, and you're like, okay, let me walk this way a little bit. And then it's 3J 125, and you're like, wait, how come they both changed, the number and the lanes? Hold on.
You use that app?
Yeah, it tells you where stuff is, but you still got to find it.
He also has the map.
Yeah, but you still got to get there.
Using the map.
Okay, well,
It wasn't that specific.
Oh, it was for me.
This is my fifth year, so I felt like it was a lot easier. I know Hall 3 is next to Hall 1 and 2, which then connect to the main hall, which connects to Hall 7 and 6, which goes to 8.
That's obvious, but I'm talking about one little specific booth in there is sometimes tricky to get to.
Well, I would just forget where it was. I'm like, I would say, oh, I need to go by this booth. What hall was it in again? And I don't want to pull up the sheets and look at it, so I'm like, it's probably Hall 1. And I go there, nope, it's not this hall. I can remember this is Asmodee.
I don't know. I used Event Badger is the app that we had. We downloaded it. Andre Nordstrand showed it to me the first day we were there because it was the app that he was using, that he had already picked all of his picks that he wanted to go see and everything like that. And it flags the booth on the map for you. And so when you go to a certain hall, you just have to open it up a little bit, you know, and spread it out, you know, pinching it or whatever you call it. And it has everything really, really easy laid out there. I didn't have any trouble at all. Event Badger, it was a cool app.
Yeah.
If you're a game designer looking to hook up with a publisher, is there a convention you would recommend to have the opportunity to meet up with publishers? Any. Just schedule it ahead of time.
Yeah, schedule it, though.
They hate if people just come up to the booth.
That sounds like you're asking if you can show up there and bug publishers. That's not a good idea. That's one of the busiest conventions for board games of them all. Do not do that.
I also got to say, I find it a little bit. I got to be careful how I word this because I don't want to. I'm not angry or anything, but I don't like when someone comes by our booth to say hi to us as a disguise to get us to look at their prototype when we made it super clear in all our video and stuff that we don't. And they'll come by and they'll say, "I know you don't look at prototypes, but." At that point, then we look like jerks because we want to say no. We're very clear about this whole process. So I know, I promise you showing me the prototype isn't suddenly going to blow my mind and be like, you know what, I was wrong. We'll look at this. Unless, of course, your name is Eric Lang, we might do that then. But even probably not. Eric Lang, come by and try and show us your prototype.
It's true, man. We're sick of it.
How do you feel about buying games from the publishers versus buying secondhand games? I don't care one whit about that. I know they're saying if you buy, so Sam, the publisher, sells a game to Z, and I buy it from Z instead of buying a new game from Sam.
Right.
So Sam doesn't get any money from both of us buying it. but he knew that when he
already-
made the game. Should Z burn it when he's done?
Yeah, I mean, I get the argument. This is that old video game argument, right? Like, you're selling video games secondhand, okay.
Yes.
That's why they're trying to shut down, like, GameStops and all this, so this thing doesn't happen, or, like, lock the game.
Which everyone hates.
Yeah, but they, the publisher, the person who printed that game and put it out, they got their money.
Yeah, they already got their money from it.
Yeah, and actually, in the board game world, it almost never matters because when you're going and buying the secondhand games,
Well, at the end of the
they're
day,
not being sold by the publisher anymore anyway.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's basically if I buy a game from Sam at $50 and then I sell it to Tom for $40, it's like we too bought a copy for $40 and $10. Doesn't really matter.
Yeah. I don't think it matters. Hey, this guy wants to know if I'm bald. It's time to reveal the truth.
Oh my goodness, that would be creepy.
That would throw you
Yeah, it
off.
would be like, this just became about a whole different thing.
Were you each able to buy games for your personal collections and as the company as well? You usually buy a couple games for yourself,
Wait, what's the
right?
question?
Did you buy games for your personal collection as well as we got stuff? Like every game we got is for the Dice Tower, mostly. But
Yeah.
when they're done, sometimes they will go into one of our personal collections, and
And I
sometimes
bought some things also, yes.
Yeah, I think I bought a couple of them that I'm going to be doing with my son. So
I bought a few games, like 4 or 5 games maybe.
I didn't buy that many.
Yeah.
I didn't buy anything. I usually buy other stuff. I bought some tops with pencils in them.
Yeah, I saw those. Those were cool.
Yeah, you spin it and it makes like doodles on the paper. I thought the kids would like that, although hopefully they're not watching this because they're stuck aside for Christmas stocking.
Oops.
She's not listening. She's way back down.
I got, we had reviewed already CV Pocket. That's one of them. And then the game was actually, was out there, and I went and bought it, because I really liked it. So that's one, because it wasn't for, it wasn't for review. We did that already. I wanted one. And I did a few other games like that. Nothing too big, but yeah, a few things I was really interested in.
Is the fair kid-friendly? What's the
Yes.
youngest age that kids should go to Essen or Gen Con?
There were kids at Essen. There were kids in strollers. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
wouldn't
that's
do
not.
that, but
I don't think they.
I wouldn't do that to the kid. I mean,
oh,
I don't think the kid's gonna enjoy it much either. Just these big crowds. But I think once they're 5 years old, they can walk around. Man, there was a lot of fun things to do.
There's
there
lots
was
to
a
do.
bouncing house. There was. They had these like the circus guy kept doing this act. And the kids would all go around and shoot confetti guns at them and stuff.
you
Man,
can go punch the guy who throws that little airplane that keeps going zzz and coming back, the boomerang airplane. I would tell my kid, go kick that guy in the shins. Every time that little plane whizzes by, I'm like, oh, worries me, man. Yeah, it's definitely a good convention for kids.
I thought it was pretty cool. Asmodee, Simon, even Asmodee's FFG came big this year to Essen. Yeah, but one thing to remember is that it was European Asmodee was spending this money. They're a
Yes.
huge company. So Simon is distributed by Asmodee, and so is FFG. So Asmodee bought Heidelberger. Heidelberger used to have a huge booth there.
That's right.
Totally displaced by Fantasy Flight Games now.
Right.
It was a very impressive. They came to this show in a big way. They acted like they were in Hall 3.
Well, they basically had almost their own hall, yeah. So
I think some point they will.
I could see that in the not too distant future.
Let's see here. Blah, 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 blah. Is Essen good for noobs? That's a good question. Like someone who's new to gaming.
I don't think so.
there were a number of people that came to the booth that said that that was their first time and they had only been in the hobby a few months. So and they were really enjoying themselves. So it depends on the person more often than not. But I did talk to a number of different people that said that this is their first convention and they had not been in the hobby very long and they were really enjoying themselves.
But from my personal point of view, thinking back to when I got into the hobby, I would have hated going to Essen. Again, this is very personal, obviously, but just from my own experiences, I'd be in a foreign country, among massive crowds of people I don't know, surrounded by games I don't know. I wouldn't know what to do. I would just be utterly lost. So Again, it depends how new you are and how willing you are to sort of like dive into the deep end of the pool when it comes to convention going. It would not have been a good first convention for me at all.
It would have been bad for me too, but in a completely different way. Because I love the crowds and I love to see all this stuff. And I would have went there and gone, oh, I'm just going to buy a few games, and I would have left with 200. And I would have got a good price, and I'm like, there's games there for €2 or €3. I'd have been like, haven't played that, haven't played that. I'm fortunate that I have played most of these now, but if I hadn't played them, I'd been like, why not?
Right.
Yeah.
You would have come back with a bunch of stuff, some of it not very good, because that's why it's €2 or €3, right? There were a few piles I saw of shrink-wrapped brand new games at some publishers that were clearly older games that did not do well or whatever, and they were just blowing them out for next to nothing. And you got the used game sellers on top of that.
What do you think of people who are just buying hot games at Essen that sell out to sell them for a much higher price?
They need a better hobby?
Yeah.
What's that?
People who go buy like Altiplano or another game they know is going to sell it just to flip it.
No.
That's probably not even like the best way to make money.
I don't like anyone involved in that.
That cannot be a very good return on the hours it takes to go to Essen to buy a game, to wait till it runs out, to then go post it online.
Not to mention the money it takes to get there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like literally, if you stayed home and just worked those hours at whatever your day job is, you come out on top.
Yep.
I agree, but I despise that in people. I get if you get something and you're like, oh, I don't really like this, and you flip it and you say you see everyone's paying $200 for it, and you're like, well, that's what it's going for.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think you should sell it cheaper on purpose.
No.
But to do it with that intent, come on now.
To attempt to scalp people, yeah, like people who buy tickets to a sporting event and then wait and flip them. That's just not cool. It's slimy.
What could the Spiel improve on at other conventions do better?
From a booth perspective or from an attendee perspective?
I guess
either one. I guess.
I mean, from a booth perspective, they're knocking it out of the park. I don't think there's anything from a booth perspective that they do worse than another convention. More often than not, what they're doing is better than most of the other
conventions. Other conventions, I'd say they are the best about that.
Now, from an attendee's perspective, I would say the only thing that I think Essen is missing is an open gaming area.
That's my #1 thing every time. And they even have the room to do it.
There is literally nowhere to play games unless you're demoing them from the publisher. And that is... And again, it could be a cultural thing where, the vast majority of the people that are coming to this are only interested in playing games that they want to then purchase.
I think it's... See, I don't know. I mean, it is very much that type of convention where you go there to buy a game, and I think the publisher having their own space where they can control the demo and how it's taught and how they go about it is not a bad idea for them. They give you the best teaching experience they can. So I don't know that I would necessarily... I wouldn't care one way or the other. I wouldn't go there probably, but I don't know if it needs an open gaming area,
Well, I don't know. I think it would be better. I don't know. It felt like a huge mall, like a board gaming mall. That's all.
Flea market.
Or flea market or whatever. And that's all people are wanting to do. I don't know. I guess I don't enjoy that kind of atmosphere as much. It's a little bit too capitalistic, I guess you could say.
Okay.
I wish there was a place that we could just, go and sit down and play games. I mean, even the hotel that we were in had a small area, and probably because it was so small, they were actually pretty on board asking people, "Are you staying here?"
Yeah, that was an interesting.
And even that provides a level of tension that really shouldn't be there. An open gaming area would alleviate that tension, and that would be the That would be the one thing that I think
Maybe they do it because you said maybe it's a cultural thing, but maybe, I mean, there's a lot of international people there. Maybe eventually they'll do it. I know this year, I don't remember who did it. I want to say it was, I think it was not Ravensburger, but Pegasus. I think Pegasus did some game in their booth area after hours.
Really?
And you got a free game, and you got some free drinks or something to that effect. But by free, it was like 65 euros or something. It was a really pricey thing.
And you paid to be allowed to play there,
right,
whatever you wanted.
I don't, who knows? But I know the people who did it said it wasn't, they didn't think, the few people I talked to who did it said it wasn't a value for their money.
Okay.
This is an interesting. Bob says, I had the feeling the quarters weren't wide enough. Did anyone else have the same feeling? Don't go to any other convention. Because those are easily the widest quarters I've been doing, other than maybe Origins.
Well,
and that's just Origins doesn't have
maybe like the doors between halls. Like, for example, between, I think, 1 and 2, you would have to corner out like 5 to 10 minutes just to get through that door. Because it was like this direction, this direction, this direction, that direction, this direction, and this direction are all meeting in this one nexus. And it's like everybody just kind of, you know, just taking these little baby steps and bumping shoulders and stuff like that, trying to get through this area for like 5 minutes. So maybe that's what he's talking about. Those, I think the entrance and exits to the different halls could be a little bit wider. I mean, they had booths like up to the door.
Yeah.
You know.
I just thought of something. Another thing Essen could learn: have more bathrooms.
Well, what else?
That's, I think, a cultural thing. That's
what else?
They can't do anything. It's the convention center itself. But I'm amazed at how few bathrooms there are in that place for how many people it can hold.
I think I used the bathroom twice over the entire. In the hall.
Still holding it. Oh,
no, in the hall. I mean, I made sure I went before I left the room, and then when I held it until I got back to the room because it's.
I went once.
People are saying it's called the Essen Game Fair, not Essen Game Convention, for that reason. But you asked us how it could improve. They should change the word fair to convention. How's that? The foam box stuff. You got a few of those foam inserts for games.
I did.
What'd you think of them, just at a glance?
Well, it's an interesting way, I think. It's an interesting alternative for game storage. I don't know how practical they're going to be. I haven't even, got them all back yet, but I'm looking forward to looking into them and seeing how they work out. They're definitely lighter than the Broken Tokens or the Meeple Sources, or not Meeple Source, Meeple Realty. They're definitely lighter than their wood counterparts. So, I mean, there might be something there. Feldspar, I think, is the name of the company that I brought some stuff back for review. So we'll be looking at that stuff. They do ship internationally, so that was one of the things I was interested about when I talked to them.
So if you three had to play area control and were only allowed one convention each, what would it be? Well, I'd immediately cede UK to Sam, because he'd fight for that one.
If you three had to play area control, yeah, I probably would want to go to the UKGE. I enjoy that size convention, Origins, a lot better than the larger ones.
I'm taking the cruise, baby. I guess it's the cruise, probably.
That's not a convention. That's a cruise.
That's a convention on a cruise, man.
Convention. No, it is not.
Oh, so then Essen doesn't count either?
It is a cruise.
Yeah, Essen is a fair. If you take the cruise and you take UKGE, I'll take the other ones.
Wait! Okay. I've seen this happen in a game before. No, if I can only go to one convention a year.
Dice Tower Con.
That wasn't one of the Dice Tower ones. Cruise
Con.
I'd probably pick Gen Con, actually.
Gen Con, yeah.
Although I do like Essen a lot. I'll tell you what, for us at the Dice Tower, at this point in time, Essen's pretty critical. I have so many meetings there with European publishers, just people in general. We see a lot of publishers that we would never see otherwise. Because, like, for example, the Indonesian publisher, they don't go to any other convention. I would never have met them other than that.
Right.
That's the only... We're starting to see a few Japanese publishers come to Gen Con and other conventions. But the Taiwanese group and all, and the Korean folks, they're just going to.
What you see
Essen.
there is spectacular. Honestly, if you asked me any other time that wasn't right now, after I was just in a plane for 9.5 hours, I would say Essen. I'm saying Gen Con because that's too fresh. Ask me in like 6 months and I'll switch back to Essen.
No question, Essen is the most tiring of all the conventions we do. We came back and
I punched this guy in the face.
we didn't do any recording or anything yesterday.
I did not.
I'm still exhausted. You know, it's a really tiring trip. What was that for?
Because I lied about punching you.
Did anyone believe him? Or did you punch me tonight? Is that why I slept so soundly on the trip? I wake up like, oh, hurts a little
Why
bit.
does my jaw
But I
hurt?
slept great.
I was like,
Felled her, yes, I'm sorry. Felled her.
what are we talking about?
The name of the foam insert company.
Okay. All right, folks. Well, that is pretty much it. I guess we'll quick do that thing you guys always do. What is it? The rapid fire round?
Rapid fire. And
all right.
I did not play Joan of Arc. I played Joan of Arc at Gen Con. I did not play them again, although I did stop by the booth
Game
and
is
say hi.
blowing up, isn't it? Like a Kickstarter is doing
So we need
amazing.
to switch over to the thing for the rapid
Very
fire, right?
No, the rapid fire will show up here too.
Very
Okay.
cool.
So you can add something or something, and we'll answer some of them. Okay? And at some point, we'll stop doing them. Are you ready?
Yes. Grilled cheese or goat cheese?
already
We're not going to
ready.
answer Essen versus Gen Con, okay?
Come on, man.
Sounds
Grilled
legit.
cheese or goat cheese?
Grilled cheese or goat cheese?
Yes.
Grilled cheese.
Grilled, but it's close. I really do like
not
goat
a
cheese.
Toasted sub or untoasted sub?
Toast it every single time.
Untoasted.
Really?
My man, that's right.
They call it a cold cut for a reason.
That's correct. Nobody wants a warm cut.
That doesn't even make any sense.
Are you sure it's going to show up here?
Well, why would it not?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
They have stopped.
Everyone's gone.
No.
It blew up.
No.
Let's see. Doner or burger?
All right, here we go.
All right.
When I say here we go, okay.
What are you doing?
All right, here we
Okay,
go.
so-
Donor or burger? Donor, but I really
Burger.
love donors.
Burger.
All right,
Burger.
smashed or regular burger? What's a
Regular.
Smashed burger.
Smash is where you like warm it up. It's actually the burger style, I guess. And I would rather have not smashed.
Paper or electronic planner? Paper.
Electronic.
Sausage or bacon? Sausage.
Bacon.
Bacon.
By a mile. Dicetown or Otis?
We don't
haven't
know
played
yet.
it
Don't know yet.
All right, Reformation Day or Halloween?
Reformation Day.
Yeah, I guess.
Halloween.
Painted or unpainted miniatures?
Oh,
Unpainted.
you skipped one.
Oh, I'm sorry, UK or Germany? I'm not picking
UK.
a country. I'm not picking a country. Only he said that. I like them both the same. Painted or unpainted miniatures?
Unpainted, painted, painted.
Well,
It
unpainted
depends
until
what
they
it
are
is.
painted.
Season 1 or Season 2 of Pandemic?
Season 2.
Ooh. Codenames or Resistance?
Resistance.
Yeah,
Resistance.
Sam or Z?
Z.
Myself.
Moving on. Taco or burrito?
Burrito.
Burrito.
Taco. Charterstone or Scythe?
Scythe.
You wanted a final review of Charterstone? I feel like that may be what it is. All right.
No, that's not.
Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey. I've
Not all of us are on the cutting edge of Nintendo.
all right, bacon ice cream or bacon yogurt?
what?
Either.
Bacon yogurt sounds super gross.
Bacon ice cream or bacon yogurt?
I can see bacon ice cream.
Yeah, but can you see bacon yogurt?
No.
How about a bacon mint? Makes
Is
your
it wafer
breath
thin?
makes your
All
breath
right.
smell like
Red
bacon.
vines or Twizzlers?
Twizzlers.
Ooh, that is a hard call.
Well, they're both.
Which
kinda
ones are the ones you
same
can peel?
thing. Red
Twizzlers.
vines. Red vines are the ones you can peel. You can't peel Twizzlers.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't. You're right. Red vine. He's right.
All right.
Red vine's the ones that are made up of all the little ones that go together. Twizzlers is one thing.
Twizzlers does make the
It makes that. It's a mold.
Oh,
It's
but
not
wait,
put
Twizzlers
together.
makes alternate flavors. So I'm back on the Twizzlers side.
well, red vines. They have different colors and
Glasses or
different tastes.
contacts?
Contacts. If I can help it.
Even though you're both wearing glasses
Well,
now.
I am today because my eyes need a break.
Handshake or fist bump?
Handshake.
Don't you fist bump us.
Although I will
you can fist bump if it's a big deal. Just do me a favor. if you're gonna fist bump me, can you like by the time you see me, like
Just go like this and start walking.
like that from far away? Because if you get close enough for me to extend my hand to shake yours, and then you look me square in the eye and go like this, you make me feel like a jerk.
Yes.
Like I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm a filthy animal. You know what I mean? Like, did you not make me feel that way? Like, give me plenty of warning.
him next time. They're gonna be walking by.
Yeah, like bring it from far away, or you know, just shake my hand and wash him every now and then. That works too.
Apple or Microsoft? They're both pretty evil companies, but I'll go with Apple.
I don't think they're evil. Apple.
Mobile Rally or TI4?
Duh. TI4.
Robo Rally.
Mobile Rally. Coke or Pepsi?
Pepsi.
Coke.
Don't care. They both taste the same to me. Sam's cooking or Z's cooking?
I'm gonna assume Sam's cooking on this
I've
one.
never had yours, and I had yours like ages ago.
I make a mean breakfast.
No, you don't.
That's the thing
You
he
hate
likes.
breakfast.
I'm good at making it though.
No, you're not. You never eat it.
SNS or D&D?
SNS.
Cards or dice?
Cards.
Dice, yeah.
Cards.
Justice League or Thor?
Thor.
Come on. I haven't seen either movie yet, and I can guarantee you I'm going to like Thor better than Justice League.
That's no question. Come on.
Wiener
No,
Schnitzel or
I haven't.
Bratwurst?
I don't know
Ooh.
the difference that well, so.
Bratwurst. Wiener Schnitzel is the pork cutlet type stuff, right?
No, I might be mistaken, but that's schnitzel, not Wiener Schnitzel.
Oh, I don't
Wiener
actually know the
Schnitzel is
difference.
another form of the sausage.
Game upgrades or game
It's just
accessories?
different kinds of sausages, really.
Sausage
I could
thing.
be
Game
wrong.
upgrades.
What was the question? Game upgrades or what?
Game accessories.
Yeah, upgrades.
Lord of the Rings or Hobbit?
Lord of the Rings.
If
Yeah.
you're talking about movies, Lord of the Rings. If you're talking about book, I like The Hobbit better. Pickles or cucumber?
Pickles.
Cucumber.
Normally I would say pickles, but the kimchi cucumbers are pretty good.
But that's a pickling process. Korean pickles.
It is,
Alright.
Tom. He's mansplaining it to you.
Enchilada or burrito?
Oh, that's a hard,
Burrito.
that's a hard one. No,
All depends on the
enchiladas
mood
are
I'm in.
wonderful.
All right.
But I'm gonna go with burrito.
NBA or NFL?
NBA.
NFL.
I dislike them both. Expansion or new game?
Expansion.
Yeah.
Pumpkin pie or pumpkin cake?
Pumpkin pie.
Pie. Yeah.
Go with cake. Live play or reviews? That's a good question, actually.
Live play or reviews? Live play, I guess.
Live plays are easier.
Live plays
They're
are.
harder to set up, though.
Though there's interaction in live plays is the main thing. When I'm
Yeah, we're
doing
actually playing the
reviews,
game.
when we're doing reviews, it's usually alone. So
Sleeved or naked cards?
negate.
I was gonna say nude is the way to go. Alien or Predator?
Predator.
I would probably say Predator as well.
I hate them both. Hash browns or O'Brien's?
What are our Brian's?
Isn't O'Brien's like the hash browns that are like? I don't know. Why did I
Like
read that?
shredded hash
Tent
brown?
or hotel?
Tent or hotel?
Hotel.
Jeez, a
Absolutely.
Hotel a
Hotel.
million times over.
Yes.
I am a city boy.
I am a city boy, nobody loves me.
Bald or a hat?
Hat, normally, I forgot it.
Z or vomit bag? I think we successfully proved that vomit bag is superior.
Yes. Absolutely.
Would you like to argue that?
No.
James Bond or Jason Bourne?
Born.
Yeah, boring.
You know, I like the James Bond movies a lot, but I guess Bourne seems like less of a jerk.
All I'm saying is if the two were in the same room together at odds, pretty sure Jason Bourne would come out unscathed.
Yeah, well, James
without
Bond
any
might have
weapons?
some- yeah, what about all those gadgets and stuff?
I don't think that would phase Jason Bourne.
Yeah, I guess so.
All
But
right.
Jason Bourne is more physically fit.
Dang.
All right, what was the lie? We got to end this now here, folks. Sorry. Is there a good one to end on here?
Sriracha or Tabasco? Sriracha.
Tabasco.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Uncultured swine.
Wiener Schnitzel's veal. Yeah, it is that.
How about that one? Bone in or boneless wings?
Bone in or boneless?
Yeah.
Bone in.
You know, I want to say boneless because I don't like the bone part, but every time I've had boneless wings, they are they're just chicken tenders.
Right.
I like boneless. I mean, I'll have either, but
the
boneless.
bone in makes you feel like you're eating less, so you can
makes you
eat
feel like you're
more.
eating chicken. Also, the other ones you're like, I hope it's
This
chicken.
is processed something.
All right. Anyway, folks, those are our thoughts on Essen. Thanks
And
for
chicken
joining us.
wings.
Ain't got a thing. So we haven't done back talks for a while. We'll try to do these more often because
This is less like a back talk and more like a Q&A.
well, that's the way I want our back talks to be. Where we start with a topic and then we answer questions on that topic and go back and forth.
It's you hanging out with us, all right? Thanks for hanging out.
Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. See ya.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side, folks.
Ooh.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at dicetower.com. You can also find other great